Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast, episode 153. Tonight, we cower and hide as Nintendo's copyright ninjas come for us all. We're talking Nintendoing, and what was the best game that came out in 2020? What do you tell someone who thinks Nintendo's only for kids? And all your community submitted questions and topics. We're talking all of that and more. Greetings, fellow Nintendo pals. My name is Andross, and I am one of the hosts of the Nintendo Pals podcast, the show all about Nintendo and friendship. I am joined by fellow Nintendo pal, co-host, all-around awesome guy, Micah.
Yep.
And Micah, how the heck are you?
Doing pretty good.
Great to hear. Random question for you. Can you name 5 things you wouldn't do for $1 million?
Yes, I could.
Give me those 5. Give them to me, Micah. I need to know.
Well, I probably wouldn't murder you for $1 million.
Probably. Say it so unconfidently.
Well, I mean, I could theoretically murder you and then bring you back to life with some medical assistance.
For $1 million. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't permanently murder you.
Okay. Any other
Or
things?
any 4 other family members I have.
So those are your 5. It's me
Yeah.
and your 4 family members. Don't you have?
And 4 of my other family members.
Okay. Hey, I will take this as a win. I am up here. I think I'm at least beating out some of Micah's family. Immediate family. You have more siblings and parents than 4 actually. So yeah, sorry, one
Pretty
sibling.
much just murder is where I draw the line, apparently.
Yeah, I would say shortening my life. Like time you can't get back, right? So anything
What if
that
it was just like 5 seconds?
That's okay. So there is like a threshold.
Well,
5
what about all
seconds?
those like
Yeah.
sugary cereals and stuff? Because I feel like that's theoretically shortening your life.
Yeah, but I'm not doing that for $1 million.
So you're saying a sugary cereal is worth more than $1 million?
I think cut off a limb.
Mhm.
I don't think I would do that for $1 million.
What if the limb would just fall off painlessly?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to live without a limb. I mean, for $1 million, you could get a pretty good prosthetic, but that's so. That's just such a crazy thing. I wouldn't do that. And so I'm in the same line of thinking as you. You're like murder, and I'm like any sort of like
I mean,
harm to myself.
I probably wouldn't rob a bank as well.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, I wouldn't do
Because
anything.
I'd get caught.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything for $1 million that would make me a criminal that wouldn't be able to actually use the $1 million. You know what I mean? So I think yeah, I
But
think
you'd
that's
park
where I draw the
illegally
line.
for $1 million.
Dang it, Micah, you keep getting me on these minor loopholes. I'd park illegally for $1
Yeah,
million.
like you even have to think about that.
No,
That's,
no, but my blanket statement of like, oh yeah, I'll follow the law. And you're like, well, what
well,
about
you
this
didn't
one?
necessarily say you'd follow the law. You said you'd essentially not do something that would get you arrested for the rest of your
Oh,
life.
yeah. No, I wouldn't do something that would make me a wanted criminal. Yes, yeah. Which, you know, parking illegally is a good do. I'll pay a fine. Park illegally for $1 million? Heck yeah. Done in a second. You know what else could be done in a second? Leaving us a 5-star review. You can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, Audible. All those places let you leave 5-star reviews for podcasts. You know what it helps us do? It helps us to take over the world of Nintendo podcasts and all podcasts in general. We're going to be the top podcast ever. And it's through your help by leaving us a 5-star review. It helps the show get boosted by search algorithms and helps people come in, go, ooh, this looks cool, and then they want to check out our show. That's what it's for. And for feeling good about ourselves, all right? Listen, we're honest here. We like the 5 stars. We like them. We like them ourselves. So appreciate all the support and help that we've gotten there. We are cruising our way up to 100 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, and just very thankful to everybody who's been a part of that, making this show what it is. With that, why don't we jump into the first segment of the show, and let's talk what you making. You're back, Micah. Micah Prime is back on twitch.tv. What do you got cooking? What do you got cooking over there?
Not too much. At some point, I'm planning on finishing my minimum item run in Metroid Dread.
Excellent.
I probably won't do anything fancy with that video.
Well, I have a fancy video that I've been working on for a number of weeks that is out now at the time of this podcast going live. So please go check out on Andross 1. I'm not 100% sure what the title is at this stage, but it will be something.
You're just going to title it Sub to Andross 1?
It'll be something along the lines of Pokemon, but I surprise trade for every gym. And the premise is that I surprise traded my entire team, for every gym. And I could not train the Pokemon I received. I could not teach them TMs. And I had to take on the Pokemon League. So go through each gym one by one. I went in order from 1 to 8, which, this Pokemon being open world, you can go in any order. But I decided that was just the way I was going to do it. It's a great video. I am very proud of the music for this video, as it fits so well that it almost sounds like it is orchestrated for this video, which is crazy. But it's
that would have been a wild way
to make a
to
video.
tell us that you composed a song for this video.
No,
yourself.
I'm using a lot of music from the game and other Pokemon games and tying it together with what's happening on screen, gameplay and explanations, and it comes together in a way that I have never had. Like I put a lot of thought and effort into the music, the background music for my videos, but this one feels like so professional. I don't know if that makes any sense. But if you like video game music, if you're a big fan of video game music like me, you'll love my videos, because I use a lot of variety in my videos for the backgrounds of my videos.
Like Metroid Prime, right?
I believe I do use Metroid Prime music. Not in this video, but yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Golden Sun. Another great soundtrack.
I don't think I have Golden Sun music. I'll get some. See, this is the thing that I've been doing is like, I want a vibe like this, like XYZ. So I'll kind of like look up music with this sort of vibe, and there's playlists out there, and then I can go, okay, and then I can pull from there and use that. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like
Uh,
there are a lot of chumps making playlists without Golden Sun music on
or they're there, and I just don't know what they are.
them.
uh, on top of that, I am working on a video where I make arch nemesis for
I don't like pretend it's nemesis.
arch nemesis for content creators that I watch, and that was a super fun stream. I'm going to continue doing that and probably turn that into a video, and then we have another video in the works, which is AI invasion, but with Mario, and that one's really funny. I'm really looking forward to when that one is finished. That one's being edited by the amazing Muggles Moo, our content manager, Nintendo Pals. So it's great. Lots of projects in the work. I had the deadline and schedule to have a video out every 2 weeks, and I am coming up on 4. This video has taken so much effort. This Pokemon video has taken so much effort. So please check it
Well,
out.
what you should do is just split it into 2 videos, and then you can kind of pretend you did it
Yeah, it is. It
every day.
is about two the value of 2 videos put together, time wise as well as not. So it's looking like it's gonna be about 30 minutes long right now. I don't know where it ended up, but when this podcast goes
Just
live,
getting
it'll
really
be up.
emotional about it.
I'm
Sounds
like,
like
the doorknob. No, I just was like yawning. Uh, with that, let's move on to the next segment of our show, to the place where you, the listener, can submit questions and topics. It's the Community Corner. We got a question from Presto, the magnificent king of chat rule. What's the best game that came out in 2020?
there were quite a few good games that came out in 2020. Kind of.
But
I,
which
mean, I,
one
got-
was
I
the
got some
best?
honorable mentions.
Okay, okay.
Untitled Goose Game, fantastic.
That is a good one.
Well, I think technically that came out like 2019, but in 2020 they had like a physical version or something. So who knows if that actually counts? Then they had Pikmin 3 Deluxe, which I'm also not 100% sure it should count because it's just Pikmin 3 with a little bit of added stuff.
It is good, though.
And my next honorable mention is the XCOM 2 collection, which I also wasn't sure should count since it's a port from earlier years, but still fantastic. Um, and then kind of a legit honorable mention, Clubhouse 51 Games Worldwide Classics, or Clubhouse
Yeah.
Games 51 Worldwide Classics.
I don't know,
Just
man. I might have to pick that as my top. With how
wow.
many hours I have in that game. But no, there's one that stands above the rest for me.
Is it Paper Mario, the Origami King?
No, but I will throw an honorable mention for that. It was a good game.
Which, I mean, the gameplay wasn't necessarily my favorite,
Mm.
but I thought the humor and the story were pretty good.
I
And I
yeah, I thought
enjoyed like finding all the collectibles and things.
I thought the gameplay was fine. Uh, not as good as like other Paper Mario games, but better than
Yeah, like
most.
those other classic Paper Mario games that you've played so much of.
Yeah, the original and Thousand Year Door, but it is better than uh the monstrosity that is Sticker Star and Color Splash, gameplay wise, anyway. I have an honorable mention here that you may be passing by here, just like Nintendo did. Super Mario Bros. 35.
Mm.
Super honorable mention, and that's a contender for the top spot for me. I think that game was fantastic. It was super fun. I played so much of it,
Yeah, I
and it
didn't
will
play
be
that
missed.
much of it.
It will be
I thought it was
missed.
pretty good.
How do you feel about Super Mario 3D All Stars?
I feel I should probably also get an honorable mention, I guess. But
I
once
don't know.
again, it's
I don't know
three ports,
because
and I kind of hear the ports weren't super fantastic.
I mean they're fine, they're serviceable, but they ported the 3D Mario games, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario
A great
Galaxy.
game,
Which, yeah, it is the first time I played Mario Sunshine.
and you
So
loved it. I
never
heard
mind,
so
never mind.
much.
Let's take this off the list entirely. But this game is also marred by being a limited release and the fact that they then released the N64 online, which included Mario 64,
Yeah, it's
rendering a
probably gonna
third of
be
the game useless. Uh,
if you have the online,
tr-
but it's probably gonna be like a collector's item worth millions of dollars in 800
a
years.
game you're currently playing came out in 2020. Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, I was about to say it must be Phoenix Rising then.
Yeah.
Honorable mention to that. I think it's pretty good. I quite
Uh,
enjoyed my time with that.
my number one, the best game of that year is Animal Crossing.
Mm. Mm.
What's yours?
What's mine?
What's your top game?
I just Paper Mario,
Oh,
Origami King.
oh, wait, I thought you said honorable mention for that.
New,
Oh, nice.
but I will also give an honorable mention to Animal Crossing. New Horizons.
There you go. There were a lot of good games in 2020. Probably for the best, since that was a horrible, horrible year for humanity. Shouldn't laugh. That was not a good time. Two more questions here. We got from I Can't See. You want to ask this first one?
Yes. What would you say to someone who insists that Nintendo only makes kid games? I would say prepare to fight, followed by me punching them in the face.
Um, I don't know what I'd say because someone who has this attitude is
Has a very shallow way of looking at things. No offense.
yeah. Yeah, Disney only makes kid movies. It's funny. Like I feel like everybody in life goes through this phase. I never did, but everybody goes through this phase of like you play the Nintendo games and then you don't play Nintendo, you switch to Xbox or PlayStation so you can play those juicy M-rated shooters and oh man, look at all these expletives in this game and this is the real mature stuff. Um, and genuinely some really solid games like Last of Us.
Yep. You got
All
others.
those
Others you
games.
want to mention?
Halo. I'm like trying
Doom.
to think of Doom. I didn't play that. This is the problem. Is I
Did
like
you play
never.
Last of Us?
No, nope. You're right.
Or
But
you did play
you know
Halo?
what I'm saying. Like
Mostly that racing.
they go through this phase. You go through this phase, and I'm just gonna call it the teenage years because it's a very teenage attitude to have. Uh, uh, to say that Nintendo only makes kids games, and then you usually just come back. You come back, and then you play all of them, and you go, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And maybe I'm just an old man. That just I have kids of my own, and look at these games and go, when something is made for kids, it can be for me too. These are Nintendo. I feel like people try and target it as like, oh, these are baby games for little kids, but it's more that they are games that are family friendly, that are just good to play at all ages. If a kid has fun doing playing it and you have fun playing it, who cares? Who cares if it was designed for the kid? Uh, you know. Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
LPD God of War. That's another good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people just think that if it doesn't have murder, violence, and gore, then it's for kids. And that's just a stupid way of looking at things.
I can't see in chat here. It says for context, I think this mentality was started by console warriors to downplay Nintendo. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. I feel like this sort of mentality came even predating the console wars. Uh, well, we'll call it console war one. You know, like World War One and World War Two. There was console war one, and that was Nintendo and Sega, and
Originally
then
called the Great Console War.
the Great Console War. Yeah, the Revolutionary War, followed by World War Two, which we're currently in Cold War mode for that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I agree. I think Sega started it. This is Sega's fault that people say things like this because that was straight up their marketing. Like, look at that Nintendo console for babies. Could play cool Sonic. Yeah. Maybe this is why I hate Sonic so much. It's deep rooted trauma. I actually thought Sonic was cool as a kid. I watched the cartoons and everything. Played the games. But yeah, I think that's where it originates from. And anybody that still has this mentality, I mean, I think you can easily point to a lot of games that are intended for mature audiences on Nintendo Switch and go, Nintendo doesn't just make kids games. They make games for everybody. Um, there are games that are very, very geared towards kiddos. I can't actually think of any that are like, oh yeah, that's just a child game. Can you?
Save the Animals, Wonder Pets,
Yeah, but that wasn't but like a Nintendo game, like a Nintendo
Mhm. Like
produced
first
game.
party. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't think of Kirby. Kirby's probably the best example.
Like the Yoshi's. Oh, I hope you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
Yoshi.
yeah. The Yoshi's
Those,
games,
those a
but
little
then
more child friendly
but then we
focus.
have the Bayonettas. We have Xenoblade Chronicles. Uh, yeah, I feel like you can point to lots of different IPs. I think Nintendo just
Yeah,
gets this rep because they have so many that fall in the middle ground of being for everyone, which is good. That's good. Great for them.
yeah. I mean, people who think that Nintendo only makes kid games must also think that everything animated is for kids. That is not true.
All right, another question here from I can't see is similar wavelength of a question here. What would you say to a normie who tells you that you game too much but plays just as many mobile games like Candy Crush? It's time to pull out the stats. Uh, listen, your phones now track how much screen time you spend, and I think you just you just straight up go pull up your screen timer and let's look at my in-game time and let's look at your in-game time and let's compare. Um LPD says I call them gamers and it's triggering. It's true. You're like, oh man, you call them gamers. It's funny how there's still this like large it's a large subset of people of humanity that has such a negative opinion of video games and yet will spend all day on Facebook. It's like, man,
Or we'll binge a season
yeah,
of a show. Like
it's
you just watched 15 hours of a show in 3 days. That's a long time.
it's just like, let people enjoy what they want to enjoy, you know? It's like coming I don't know, it's like coming to it's the pot calling the kettle black, uh telling people like judging people for smoking and that being bad for your health while being crazy morbidly obese. It's like, listen, let people pick what they want to. Well, okay, those were very bad
That example
examples.
makes it sound like video games are very bad for you.
Yeah, no, those are terrible examples, man. I just need a walk back everything I said there. Listen, smoking and obesity are
In other
horrible.
words, what he would
Horrible.
say is he would just say nothing and then punch them in the face. I think is what he's trying to
I
say
guess
here.
the answer here is no. That what I would say is what you insinuate with the question. It's like you game just as much on your mobile device, or you're spending just as much screen time. Like let's just talk comparisons of screen time, and I think that in that context, gamers are perfectly normal. Do I think humanity in general spends too much time on screens? Probably. Yeah. Definitely, yes. What would you say, Micah,
What would I say about what?
to someone who says this?
Hmm.
Just sitting here poking holes in my statements, having none yourself. Oh,
I feel
how
like I
the
already said
turns
my
have tabled.
statements. Well, I'd
I
probably
feel like
start with, okay, boomer. Uh,
yeah, let's go. Um,
but no, yeah, I
we'll
mean, I was mostly just like what I mentioned with you, like you'll play these other games. They're still games, or you'll do other things like watch TV. Watching TV or movies, that's just like gaming on the easiest mode, story mode, and you don't even have to really do anything.
yeah, that's like bottom tier visual novel garbage right there.
Exactly.
I mean, especially like
Video games are
people
at
like
least
our
are like a
moms.
choose your own adventure book.
I was gonna say, especially people like our moms who watch like Hallmark, like visual novel. Hallmark is the visual novel of, of
What are
the
you trying to say
TV
about
show.
visual novels?
That they're bad. All right, I'll say it. I don't like visual novels. If you want to enjoy it, you can. People out there. And Hallmark movies, people enjoy
Just
them,
know that
but not
Andross
for
will
me.
judge you.
Let's just know that I will judge you. Uh, all right, one more question here from LPD, who asks, "Did your parents play video games?" And LPD is in the chat. He says, "Andros' mom played Plock, I think." Yes, my mom played Plock and beat it. She did say that she left the system on to do so.
Weak.
It's not weak. There was no other way.
Yeah, there's another way you beat it in one sitting. But I'm pretty sure my mom actually beat this Tarzan game, or at least played quite a bit of it
Tarzan Untamed on the GameCube.
on the GameCube.
Listen,
Heck yeah.
my mom didn't last to the GameCube era. My
I
mom
want to say
finished
this
at
is like
Super
the
Nintendo.
only GameCube game she's ever played. She played a bit of like Aladdin, mostly Aladdin.
Man, when are we gonna get a
We have
Tarzan
Genesis stuff.
Untamed stream over on Micah Prime? Can't wait for that.
Probably never, since I don't have the right chords
Oh, I
to
just need a
stream.
little converter box. I'll get one for you.
What? Why did you play Tarzan? Because it's a great game. It
Phil
probably
Collins,
started. It's
because of
probably.
Phil Collins.
But for real,
He's pretty cool.
I wonder if
Is
they. I
this
don't know any music they have. I wonder if they have any music from like the movie. There's two modes of fun. Turk's challenges.
my parents
But
my
it
parents
probably
played
started with me needing help, and then she actually enjoyed it.
my parents played video games through the Super Nintendo generation like regularly. I have lots of good memories, vague, but good memories of playing Tetris Attack, the Yoshi version of Panel de Pon, with my mom and
Best
my
version.
aunt, playing Ken Griffey Jr.'s Home Run Baseball with my dad. Um, but it was like after the Super Nintendo, my parents kind of fell off the gaming train, and I was too young to really be in on the gaming train at that stage of my life. I didn't get really back into gaming. But my mom describes it as like you didn't really start doing games again until you started school and your friends were doing it.
Yeah, played Farmville, right? So it all came back full
No,
circle.
no. Farmville did not exist when I was started school. Thank you. Uh, but yeah. So I got into gaming at that point, and then I wanted an N64. We didn't get one because we didn't get one. I got an N64 when the GameCube came out because it was super cheap. I purchased it myself as a Christmas gift for the family. It was pretty fun.
I got an N64 about a year ago when a friend gave me his 64.
Oh, okay. I really need to get you this box then, so you can stream these games. Uh, that yeah. So my parents fell out of gaming, but then came back around a little bit.
For the Wii,
The Wii. Everybody came back around for the Wii because Wii Sports.
especially the old people.
Yep, Wii Sports phenomena brought us together as a family. We were playing a lot of party games on the Wii together for family game nights, and that was all of us. Yeah, that was super fun. I remember when we first got Wii Sports Resort, and we're all as a family doing the tricks for the wakeboard. This was a good time, and we did bowling night like every week, where we all played bowling together. And then when the Wii U came out, my dad kept on the train. Nobody else did, but my dad kept on the train, and he will play Nintendo Land. He will play
Fantastic game.
most of the games in Nintendo Land with us. His favorites are Mario, Chase, and the Luigi's Mansion.
How does he feel about the Sweet Treat Animal Crossing thing?
He enjoys that one, but not being the gamepad.
The, the duo control.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. He's like I'm an
He
Atari guy. I only know
only had
one
one.
joystick.
Uh,
uh, and
separates the casuals from the true gamers. The
and
twin sticks.
my mom was a late adopter to a lot of stuff, and so she did not get a smartphone until much after smartphones became popular. But once she did, she plays games on that all the time. She plays games on it a lot. And she was into the Farmvilles and all this stuff. So, yeah. Has your dad ever gamed, Micah? I have
Not particularly.
I have
I
no
mean,
memory of
neither of my
this.
parents have really gamed much, besides like way back in original Mario days.
It's actually kind of wild how much of a gamer family you and your siblings were. I guess none of your other siblings have really stuck with it
No,
like you.
it's just me now. I'm the last one. My older sister, extra no. Youngest sister,
Every Zelda.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, she's gotten a little back into it because of a
Uh,
friend she has
of her
who
significant
is,
other.
yeah, who is more into gaming. And I
Yeah.
think they actually, they just got a Switch not that long ago.
Oh,
So
let's go. Tears of the
I
Kingdom.
want to say it was when she was out of town or something. And then he's like, "Yep, I got a Switch." Because they had like talked about it, and she's like, "Yep, that sounds about right." The instant I'm gone, no impulse control.
Good times.
But
Yeah.
and then older brother, I
We
feel
hung
like,
out with them over Christmas break. They're very cool.
yeah, I feel like my older brother doesn't really game, but he's down to game.
Yeah. Fire up NFL Blitz and he'll be there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Good old Josh. Oh man. So yeah, hey, we'd love to hear other people's stories out there about this. So hit us up in Discord. Um, do your parents game? Do you have What's your family gaming dynamic? Micah, I think you'd be a bit well. I'm the only one that's really stayed exclusive to Nintendo, as a gamer in my family. My brother wasn't really into it for a long while, but I feel like he's gotten more into it.
into being exclusive
No, just
or
into
just gaming.
gaming in
Okay,
general, just playing games again. My sister, yes and no. They're just like there's like this stage of life, and I went through this as well in like my early years of college, where it's like I have no money and I'm just working all the time. I have no money and no time, so wasn't as big into the hobby, right? But I feel like they're getting out of that stage and back into the hobby. And my younger siblings, we band together, purchased them a Switch, and they are all in. We're indoctrinating everyone. My kids, they're all indoctrinated. Boom. Nintendo will never die, and it is through Nintendo Pals. Woo! We're
But thanks to
single-handedly
Nintendo
supporting the
Pals
entire
like you.
company. Yeah. uh, well, we've spent a good chunk of time talking about this one. I really like that question, though. It's fun to reminisce. It would be genuinely fun for me if my parents had the time. They didn't live such busy lives, which they do. To have them on stream and do like a like play together of Breath of the Wild or something like that would be very funny and very fun. Just get him back into it. Let's get him back into it.
Or I think even
Or
better,
into
just
it.
have them play Human Fall Flat.
Well, having your parents, we had play VR, and that was some of the funniest, some
Oh
of the
yeah.
funniest times.
My mom was not a fan of the robot fighter things. No siree.
Almost broke your controller. That was great.
Oh no, yeah, she noped out of that real fast.
Well, let's move on here. Since we've spent so much time here, let's move on to the next section of our show. It's time for the PAL topic. Oh, Micah, I look at the time of this podcast and I am weary. For this is a large topic, but we'll try and cover it in brief. We're not gonna spend too much time talking about this. But what are we talking about? Nintendo and mods.
I don't know why, but it definitely felt like you're reading. Are you reading this off of something?
No.
It just sounded like such a quote. I don't know.
no, I'm just me. So
Something about
contrary
it
to
just
what
seemed
people
weird.
like Micah may think, this show is not scripted. If you thought it was, wow. No. Well, we're gonna be talking tonight about the Nintendo situation. Specifically, it's been brought up mainly around the content creator Pointcrow. So to catch people up to speed, Pointcrow is a Breath of the Wild speedrunner and content creator. He primarily made Breath of the Wild mod content. It was like a good portion of his YouTube channel. And he worked with a team of modders that were part of his team, so it's like technically under his name, and made a multiplayer mod for Breath of the Wild. I almost said Breath of the Welda.
Hmm.
Biggest brain mush I've ever had. So yeah, they made a multiplayer mod which has been in development for like two plus years, I think. Two years. It's been a while, and so he had been making content around it pre-release of the mod, and then the mod released to the public for free, available via his Discord channel, which is something that he had prided himself in and had done for a lot of the mods that he had commissioned. He would he would put them up for anybody to use, which I think is cool. I think that's a cool thing to do. He could have just been like, "Not people, I'm piecing out. This is mine. I paid for it." So yeah. So what happened? Well, Nintendo didn't like it. About a week after, within the week of that mod going live, Nintendo issued copyright strikes to the four of his videos that were centered around multiplayer Breath of the Wild, and then proceeded to do takedown notices to a lot of his modded Zelda content. So yeah, we're talking about that. We're talking about that situation, how we feel about it. Micah, before we jump into community comments, because I posed this question out on Discord to see what people thought, what do you think?
Hmm. I think it's kind of a bummer, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. It's a bit of a bummer because these are really
But
cool. It's a
yeah,
cool mod. It's
I mean,
very cool.
well within Nintendo's rights, I guess. But I feel like this can't be the first time people at Nintendo are like hearing about it like after it like fully releases. So it definitely would have been nice if earlier they'd reached out and were like, "Hey, we don't want you doing this." Instead
Yeah,
of like seemingly waiting until it finishes and they like worked so hard on it and then being like, "Okay, now we don't like this."
yeah. That may be like and we don't know because we're not in the behind the scenes. We're not Nintendo. We don't work at Nintendo, and we are not lawyers. Um, but at least not yet. um, it may be that they couldn't actually do anything until it was available as a public mod
Yeah, I
because
guess.
it was just content prior to that. But still, no
It,
communication. It's
yeah, I mean,
just
it seems like they
takedown.
could just been like, "Don't do that," and then
Yeah,
there wouldn't have really been a problem. I don't know.
yeah. Um, I'm kind of in the same mentality as you in this one. I think it's a bummer, and I sort of hate to see it because I think Pointcrow is a fantastic creator. He's really cool videos, and honestly, what the mod community is doing for Breath of the Wild is really continuing support and lifeblood for this game. That is just fantastic. It's a great game. It's my favorite game. So I
Just for
like these
another
things.
3 weeks.
Yeah, I like these things. Here's the thing, Micah. I believe that if they had released this mod 6 months in the future, or however long in the future, after Tears of the Kingdom came out, I don't think Nintendo would have done this. I feel like it's just bad timing. It's right before Tears of the Kingdom. They're on edge. They're looking for they're looking to prevent uh stuff that could negatively affect Tears of the Kingdom, and they decided Breath of the Wild mod content is the target of that. And so releasing your mod like a month before that game's coming out, from Point Crow's perspective, it makes sense. Wants to get it out so people can at least do it before Tears of the Kingdom comes out and takes over. But
Yeah,
I feel like, yeah, I don't know. You're
yeah. I mean,
also
I
100
could
percent
see that.
you're also 100% right that I guess it is within their legal rights to do what they're doing, Nintendo. But it doesn't mean we have to be happy about it. All right, it's still a bummer. Still a bummer. Uh, I would love to see a more open attitude towards modding, but I just don't think that that's going to happen. I watched a really great video. It was posted in the Discord by the wonderful backbone to the Nintendo Pals show, Monkey Thunder, by Moon Channel, called "Why is Nintendo So Overprotective of Its Intellectual Property?" And it really goes into the why from like a legal uh, standpoint, Nintendo is so overprotective of their property, and it's really interesting. It's a fascinating video, and it really opens my eyes to like, well, okay, I get it. I don't like it still, but I get why. You know, Nintendo, while it is a big company, isn't it doesn't see the necessity for these like community driven decision making processes. They are solely focused on protecting their IP, which is their brand. They don't have this, and this was a great, like an eye opening thing for me. Point in this video, is they're not Microsoft with Xbox. Xbox it has it's part of Microsoft, huge. huge spread of products and business and income revenues. Sony, not Microsoft level, but also huge spread and level of products that it produces. Nintendo doesn't have those things. Nintendo is just their games and their IP. So they're very sensitive to this stuff. And on top of that, they're not out, they don't see the worth in allocating resources to working with community in the way that I think people would like to see, because that group is a drop in the bucket of Nintendo fans, and they are more concerned about protecting their IP than about making their community happy. The sad reality. It's a bummer. But I turned this question out to our community because I was curious what people thought of this. So, Micah, what do you say? We can each take. I'm in the community corner. If you just scroll up to where I posted the video there, we can each take turns. I'll let you take the first one by
So let me
Flightsy.
take the first one.
Yeah, it's really short, so I figured you'd like that one. Or I can take it. You take Monkey Thunders.
Heck no, not if the first one's short.
Good call. Good call.
What date was this?
I'll take the first one.
I don't believe you.
Flightsy said, in response to this question, said, "This is another example of Nintendo misusing its legal rights. I don't really care if it's legal. I think it's pretty immoral and disappointing." Flightsy definitely disappointed in this situation. And you know what? I totally agree. I feel like they are abusing their copyright and legal powers. But I almost feel like after watching that Moon Channel video that they are almost forced to do it in a way through the system of capitalism just to protect their rights given their size. So, but yeah, it is disappointing because we do see other companies out there that are so much more open to this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, I think everybody can agree, even people that are not really in support of mods, that multiplayer Breath of the Wild is freaking cool. That's super cool. This is one of the best games ever made, and someone added multiplayer to it. Nintendo's not going to do that. And so this is a thing that would not exist. It would not exist without awesome community members coming out and going like, let's make this. So yeah, that is cool. And so that I think is really the driving force of why this can be such a disappointing thing, because cool stuff gets made. So you can take the second one now. This long one.
Yeah, just this long one. Monkey Thunder said, "I don't watch a lot of YouTube, so I don't really care what is happening. I've never even heard of this guy." I believe that was the end of the statement.
No, he has a full paragraph after that, sir.
We're not breaking up by paragraphs?
No, we're not.
That doesn't make sense.
I mean, technically, this next paragraph is shorter than the the one after from Solo
It's
something.
like an odd way to do it. Well, not if you count the for Switch in general.
Okay, just read it, man. We'll just take it per comment.
Sure, it sucks for those content creators, but it is Nintendo's IP, and they're within their rights to take the videos down. Nintendo's pretty backwards when it comes to things like this sometimes. A lot of companies would kill to have people creating videos about their games, but Nintendo doesn't. Nintendo just doesn't care. But it hasn't hurt them. They're still making millions upon millions of dollars. It's only a small vocal minority that cares.
And that statement sounds really harsh. It's only a small vocal minority that cares, but it's the unfortunate reality. Is that how many? What's the user base of Switch now? It's like past 100 million, something like that.
110 or something, isn't it? Around there.
Pointcrow's video has 2 million views. That's like, it's just such a small percentage.
It's like 2%
of the total base. I mean, 2% it's not insignificant, but in the grand scheme of things, it is.
But I do kind of wonder how many of those people are people that don't even like have a Switch.
That
They
watch.
just yeah,
Yeah, so
just
it's an
enjoy
even
the
smaller
content.
number. Yeah, true. Which is a bummer because I want change to happen, but with numbers like that, we're not going to see change happening, right? Um,
Looks like it's actually at 122.5 million Switch total
oh, I thought you
sales.
meant the video. I was like, oh dang, more people have watched it than own Switches. Uh, I agree
Wild.
with what Monkey Thunder's saying here, though. It is within their rights, and Nintendo is kind of backwards on it because it is like a lot of it is just really good free publicity. Uh, the Breath of the Wild mod, I something that frustrates me when we talk about modding is just how quickly everybody assumes it's piracy or that it's doing something immoral, and I don't feel like that's fair. While it can be very tied to piracy, I think most modders want to do everything that they're doing as legal as possible, and they're playing off of copies of the game that they have purchased. Like they purchased these games, and they like these games so much that they wanted to make stuff for it. So, um, but there definitely is a side to the coin where it is not good and piracy can get involved. And I think that's it gets gray. It gets gray very fast. Solo something says, to me, it seems dramatic to decide to take down content that has already been posted for extended amounts of time. For it seems odd that they are now taking it serious and are going on a legal hunt for content to remove. Their prior omission of action can be taken as permission to post, making it further odd. And now they're blazing through content videos. I understand the mod videos as they can claim this is not how the game is supposed to be displayed or represented IP. Not to mention a lot of this content has been consumed as viewership, meaning it is making money off of the viewership. Moving forward, if I posted VOD content, it would cause me to pause for fear that months after the fact, they might decide to remove it and strike a copyright notice to me. True. Solo speaks the truth. It does seem weird, but uh, at, at the same time, you start to see how Nintendo operates behind the scenes. That they don't have automated systems doing this. This is like people in a department somewhere that are looking for this stuff and compiling a list. There are lists that get made. They compile and go, these things need to be sent copyright notice or takedown notices because they do not conform with what we want. Their guidelines leave a lot of this very vague. The Nintendo guidelines leave a lot of this very open and vague, sort of on purpose. But yeah. And to me, this feels like perfect timing, right? This is because Tears of the Kingdom is coming out. Because guess okay. Okay. I don't want any narcs here, all right? I don't want any narcs here. Everybody listening, don't tell Nintendo, but there is a Mario Odyssey multiplayer mod that has been alive and well in the content scene and is thriving in like people using it. And Nintendo hasn't done anything about it. They haven't done anything about it
Yes.
yet. As soon as Mario Odyssey 2 comes out, good luck, small ant. Oh shoot, I narked. Freaking narked. I'm the worst. Yeah. Like it seems like you can, if as long as you're keeping your head down, at least mostly, Nintendo doesn't care. But if it's affecting a game or thing that is coming out immediately, they're looking. And yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, if they had just waited for like a year to post this, it probably wouldn't have been taken down. I don't know.
If maybe they just finished it a year ago. That would have been even better.
Yeah, what the heck? What took so long? Make it multiplayer for a game that didn't have multiplayer in it? This next one, we get some expert talk in here. Now, LPD, feel free to throw in comments since you're here with the live chat as well. This one's on you, Micah.
I think maybe half of this one's on me. I
I
can't even see this whole thing on one page.
really? What are you looking
That's
at?
not 100% true. I feel like I've been looking at screens too much today or something, though. I'm like so squinty. LPD dimension. LPD says this. Bottom line is that streaming video game content, let alone posting and potentially monetizing an archive of recordings, is copyright infringement. Video games and user generated content have been on complementary growth paths, but the honeymoon phase will have to end. I currently stick by my guess that eventually there will be a cost to the content creator, a blanket license to play a certain suite of games. I also assume that there would be an extensive amount of indie and new games that still value the promotional aspect and allow their games to be used in this manner in perpetuity.
Then he cites hip hop had a period where they weren't clearing samples until it got so big that they had to. I used to watch never ending streams of TV shows like Seinfeld, Psych on Justin.tv. I used to watch movies on Mega Video, but Justin.tv became Twitch because video game copyright holders were the only companies that weren't issuing takedowns. Uh, So, and he throws in here, for what it's worth, I work extensively with artists in my job and always find myself empathetic to a copyright owner. In my opinion, you can't make an argument that games are art, which they are, and then say I should be able to exploit it however I want. There are measures of protection for art to ensure that creative people don't get taken advantage of, thereby incentivizing future creation.
That sounds pretty legit to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Um, I don't like that future, but it makes sense given the path that music and video in general has taken. However, maybe due to what LPD states at the beginning, where gaming and social media video content have been on complementary growth paths for so long that they'll continue to try and make it work just because as a team, content creation and gaming have conquered the world and become a media giant, the biggest form of media out there. I mean, Hollywood be scared, man. Like they're getting ousted by gaming. And so it may be that we see continued support for that sort of stuff. But who knows? Who knows? And maybe we'll see stuff happening. A lot of platforms like not Nintendo, platforms like Twitch and YouTube have really skirted the legal responsibility of this to go, we aren't responsible for the content that is on our platform. That is on the users that put the content out there. And so when Nintendo comes in and goes copyright strike, YouTube does zero to defend their creator, and 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 they just kind of skirt the responsibility, and it ends up coming down on the creators, which sucks because a lot of people make content creation their livelihood. Um, and it does stink that at any point you as the content creator could be punished. YouTube isn't punished though. YouTube's still making the ad revenue that they're making off the video, but they're just taking your portion away and giving it to the shareholders. And that's frustrating. I feel like that, like I wish companies were fighting a little bit more for that, but then we're opening up a can of worms here. Like, okay, but what do they take responsibility for? It's very legally messy. It gets very legally messy very quickly. All right. Fedora Will says, in their defense, more people will be made aware of or become inspired to hack their switches by means of such a video, like what Pointcrow makes. I myself have been considering modding my Switch as a result of watching all these content creators having fun with these mods. All right, again, nobody narc, nobody tell on Fedora Will. Don't go reporting to Nintendo. Okay, he's fantastic. He hasn't done it. He's just thinking about it. All right, we can't prove that he's done it. Okay, anywho. However, the consumer should be allowed to modify the product they purchased, given that they purchased it. It may be that Nintendo is assuming every hacked device also has pirated games, which is just a big dumb if true. The best solution would be to have official mod support so that people don't have to hack their Switches. Modding gives new life to games and adds longevity and replayability. We talked about this when we first covered this story, Micah, and that there's some like great community, like developer supported mod stuff.
Yeah, and like Steam does
Yep.
it pretty well with the workshop thing they have. I don't really know how it works, but there's a whole bunch of modding stuff going
Yeah,
on with
and
Steam.
at the end of the day, this doesn't stop anybody from doing these things. That's the other thing. It's like I I I feel like it is trying to send a message like don't do this, but people still are going to. I guess just taking out the biggest ones. But I feel like there's just 1,000 other people that will mod the game in the place of this one. I don't know. All right. I want to make sure we get everybody's comments in here. All right. I think next one is Spider Shan. Throw in Spider Shan's comments here.
Spider Shan, you say?
The
I
Shan of
actually get
Spider. Yep.
where you're coming from.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I actually get where you're coming from, but no way will Nintendo allow modding support in their games.
Oh, this
They have
is in direct response to Fedora Will's comment.
they have very specific ideas of what gameplay should look and feel like. Plus, the first thing that people will do is create nude mods. Not that they don't already, but Nintendo isn't about to make it any easier.
Yeah, I responded to that one because again, I don't think that we should just assume malice from the mod communities. Where I do think that there are like bikini mods. I mean, but Nintendo, hold up, Nintendo does that in Xenoblade like every game. They just add that, but like nude they don't do. but I think that there are things like that exist out there. But I wouldn't say that that's like a majority, and that is definitely not what Nintendo would be officially supporting if they decided to officially support. One argument I saw out online that I think is really interesting is that the prediction that we'll see Nintendo loosening up in the future. We're already seeing them loosen up in a lot of ways with their IP. We got a movie. There's a theme park. There have been licensed loans of their IP, Mario and Rabbids, Cadence of Hyrule. So I do. It's slow, but I do see, and as we see leadership, younger and younger voices come into the major leadership roles at Nintendo, I think we'll see ease up on these things. It's just kind of a natural thing that happens over time. Because like a lot of the head leadership at Nintendo isn't growing up in this internet era and this content creator focused era, and so they don't understand it, and they're not going to, and they're probably not even aware that these problems are happening. I talked about this. I was on All In this week, so go check that out. All In podcast was there with our good friend Barry Carenza, and then our good friends from the All In podcast, Seth and Eric, and they were like, we came to the conclusion there's no way that like Doug Bowser is even aware, right, or that like Nintendo leadership is even really aware of what is going on in this situation because it's so small. And I think Nintendo doesn't understand or see the value of content creators to their IP because they don't need it as much as we'd like to be needed. And we here's the thing. I say that but we are needed. We fill a gap that Nintendo doesn't fill, and that's talking about Nintendo. And that's like stuff around their products, you know. Okay. Missing any comments in here? We got one here from our good buddy Sarge, aka Super Gamecraft. You want to read that one? It's like towards the end.
Yeah.
Or is it my turn to read? I just talked forever. I'm very thirsty. Glug 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 glug.
I too, so thirsty. Just
You drink your nothing. You have to go out of your way to protect your IP or you lose it. I personally think Nintendo goes a little too hard, but Blizzard went through a similar drama regarding private vanilla WoW servers in 2016. Because didn't they make WoW Classic? Was that around that time? I feel like WoW Classic might have been after that, but so they're going after.
maybe they're making WoW Classics. So.
Exactly. So does this mean that Tears of the Kingdom will have multiplayer?
Those were my exact thoughts. Actually, I'm pretty sure I semi-jokingly mentioned that like last week or
Yeah,
something.
we did. We did talk about it in a previous episode. Here's the thing:
cool
there's
would that be?
absolutely no way. There is no way that they would not have shown it in any capacity pre-game.
Maybe they did show it.
No.
All those random villagers and Prince Sidon helping you, those were other players. And they were all getting together for a photo shoot.
Oh man.
How wild would that be? You start playing day one and there's like a 2-player option in the menu. You're just like, what?
It would be insane. I'd call you up and be like, Micah, buy a plane ticket. My man, let's go. We're gonna play some.
You can just tell me to buy the Australian version so I could play it.
Oh, it's gonna have online multiplayer.
Well, of
now
course, they're gonna have multiplayer.
Now that can't be true. That can't be true.
Why not?
Because, and that's the thing. There is no way. There's no universe where Nintendo makes Breath of the Wild a multiplayer. And so, at the end of the day, I'm so bummed to lose this because this is a thing that would not exist otherwise. And that's just a bummer. I wish there was a channel where this could become a reality. Nintendo will not come to this and go, we like this idea, let's put it into the game. They're not going to pull a Larian and have, this is the goodie bag update. It's just like the top mods.
Yeah, it's like, now you can run fast.
Yeah. Can you imagine if we played through that game without that mod?
I would die.
Yeah. There's so much
to it, there's no going back.
Yeah, there's so much good that can come from modded games. And I just, what I hope we get out of this conversation is sort of taking people that may be on polar opposite ends in this argument and trying to bring it more central and go like yes, I would like to see mods. No, I don't think piracy is okay. I don't think it's warranted. I don't think it's justified. I see that all over. This is why it's always okay to pirate Nintendo games. It's always morally correct. Like, you guys are, I mean, it's just justification for your bad behavior. You say what you want to yourself, I guess, but there's that extreme where they're like all mods should be allowed, all this stuff should be okay. Why like there's that extreme, and then there's the extreme that's like mods are not good and are very closed to it. They're just like, nope, I don't think people should be able to do that. I don't think people should play with those, and serves them right. I have seen people say serves them right for getting these things taken down, and it's like you're siding with a mega corporation. Like, who wins here? It's frustrating. I guess the big corporation. Do we win as the consumer? I don't know. I guess the IP's protected.
I certainly don't lose because
we don't lose.
Watch any of this stuff anyways.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like I I tend to lean more towards the mod side, the like let's make this stuff okay.
So you're like a criminal.
Yeah, I'm like a criminal. Because it makes cool stuff that I want. I want Breath of the Wild multiplayer. I want to play with the mod that makes the game Dark Souls. I want to play with the like extra entire worlds people create. But I also don't want IP to just be completely free for people to use and abuse. But who knows? What would the world be like if there was no copyright or trademark and everybody could just use everything? We'd have a whole lot of bad Mario.
You know how many Marios there would be?
Yeah, go onto the App Store. You can already see it. You can already see what that world looks like.
Mario. He's like Mario, but more.
Yeah, you just go.
That's the character I would create.
Where were we going with this conversation? I guess I just wanted to bring awareness to it and just give our 2 cents and thoughts here. I think in a perfect world, I would like to see Nintendo be more open to this stuff, and I think it will get there. I think we're a long ways off from mods being okay. This is why. Listen, nobody narc. Everybody, nobody say anything. Don't let them know that you're using these. That's bad advice. Bad advice from me. Micah, you got any closing thoughts on this?
Nope.
I want to say, as someone who is an enjoyer of Pointcrow content, and I think he's a pretty cool dude, makes some cool stuff. I'm bummed. I hope that he is able to get some resolution here, especially for him and the other creators out there that got videos taken down that had nothing to do with mods. That, I feel like, has to be a mistake. That has to be on the Nintendo end. They were just grouped in with all of the mod videos. And so I hope those get appealed and they get their monetization back for those. And I honestly kind of hope that they just win it all and more of this kind of stuff can happen, because we got some cool stuff. I'm trying to like picture the world, like what it would be like if Nintendo is forced to go, okay, yeah, you guys can have this. Like, would that be bad? I don't know. I don't know. Micah?
It could be kind of bad.
Good. Yeah. Well, we've talked quite a bit here. This went longer than I wanted.
Did we somehow get into the Pals Plus episode without me realizing?
Nope. Let's close out here. Micah, where can people find you on the internet?
YouTube and Twitch at Micah Prime.
And you can find me playing Breath of the Wild non-modded. For anybody at Nintendo listening, I did not mod the game. Please don't sue me. I am playing Breath of the Wild and making Breath of the Wild content and other games, Nintendo game content. Andross 1 on
Echo the Dolphin.
Andross 1.
Or Prime Remastered.
That's because it's Sega. Prime Remastered. Okay. Andross 1, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and more. And if you want to follow the show, you can follow us at Nintendo Pals. We're all over Nintendo Pals. Just search Nintendo Pals. You'll find us. But one place you could check out is patreon.com/Nintendo Pals, where for as little as $3 per month, you can support the show and be a part of the Patreon Pokey Rap, which we close every episode with, and we will do now.
We gotta rap some Patreon.
You just do the singing. I'll take care of the hard part.
Let's get it on.
We want to be the best that ever was. And shout out our pals over on Patreon.
LPD, Rizzle, Retro Logic Day, You Dog Gamer, Schlim Tour, Spanish, and Solo Something, Brian, Little Miss 7, and Cosmic.
Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Patreon.
K9 Katina, Third Strongest Move, Tim the Nintendo Dad, Lance, and Sturgill, Monkey Thunder, Purple Biola, Dat Fast John, and Lava Plays 2.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Yeah.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Yeah.
Gotta Catch 'em all, Patreon. Let's get 150 or more, yeah, please. To be a Patreon donor is your destiny.
Thank you all so much for listening, and we will talk to you in the next episode. Bye-bye.